Hello, everyone, and welcome to Censored News, the Dr. Deep State perspective, where we're going to look at headlines from around the world and see if we can pick up some interesting patterns and developments.
The most impactful broadcast that I will have published this year. This is Brighteon Broadcast News for Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. That's the year. Mike Adams, thank you for joining me. We are 3 days away from the United States defaulting on its debt obligations. The United States government running out of funding. Of course, they'll probably strike some last minute deal to borrow more money and print more money and keep it going. But understand that if there's a shutdown, they're not going to shut down funding the salaries of Ukraine's government workers, but U.S. government workers will be furloughed. So how does money run out for the U.S. but not run out for Ukraine while it's the U.S. money? And the U.S., by the way, is $33 trillion in debt.
From the Ukraine, we got this story. Ukraine's former defense minister stole as much as 1 billion in euros, gave it to his daughter to buy a French villa. Let's check out this villa.
Міністра оборони Резнікова Анастасія Штейнггаус знову відзначилася. На початку червня вона купила будинок у місті Валерій поруч із Каннами. Басейн, ліфт, 7 спалень. Усе як годиться. Ціна – 7 мільйонів євро.
Well, good for them. I guess if there's a little pattern there, we maybe see a little bit more corruption. Unfortunate that couldn't be on the lamestream news and more Americans couldn't sort of be invited to be pissed off about that. Look at the multicolored pledge pin on Mr. Gates. What does he have to say? What do you have to say?
We need to support the global goals.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, so much. We do, Bill. Okay, in other news, some other black pill stuff going on after all the fires taking place over the last year or two. Tyson Foods shuts down 4 facilities amid losses. So, yeah, it's scary stuff. At the same time, we see impending market doom, tightening up there. I know in other news, Target stores are closing down in Oregon, multiple locations, San Francisco, Harlem, New York. Okay, in other news over here, I think there's some interesting things I'd like to get to. With Jewish leaders sign a letter labeling Elon Musk an anti-Semite and a danger to Jews. So they call on a boycott. If this is real, this is serious. I take it somewhat at face value. Elon is from an intergenerational family of technocrats. But just looking at this at face value, the concern seems to be that a lot of the information on X seems to be promoting different kinds of conspiracies. The boycott would concern spreading conspiracy theories about Jewish power, and there seems to be a great promotion among certain demographics to really limit free speech generally. And we see him tied here with neo-Nazi figures like Nick Fuentes. So there's a boogeyman that may very likely have been propped up just for that very reason. But let's get down here. Especially, this is what they're aiming for, stories that deal with engaging in anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, such as linking George Soros with the Rothschilds, as well as the Great Replacement conspiracy theories, neo-Nazi, throw in the name David Icke there, lizard people. I threw this in here because this has been going on for years. I think I did my first story on this 6 years ago. I think it's right around video 104, 105 about borders and the crossing. There really isn't there isn't really any sensible explanation in democratic societies why a majority of people would we need to get behind would be comfortable with the amount of immigration and the type of immigration if this were part of a great public debate. That was 6 years ago. Today, I think with what's going on in New York and Adams, the mayor, they're actually getting out and calling this a crisis. We're getting to the point where we have to kind of come up with explanations in democratic governments what people, giving an impending economic crisis, food shortages, what people would be inviting people in situations like I think the Americans here in America. I think a retiree gets something like $1,600. People are invited to come over, sort of a free, unended invitation to collect as much as $2,400. Something's definitely brewing, something's definitely cooking. And again, the idea here is to add some patterns together. How does this, for example, border security fit in with something like the merging of technology, like border security, creating a polyglot civilization, and this merger of man and technology? How do these two things hold together if they were part of the same agenda? So, in other news, we have EU signs draconian anti-free speech law to quote-unquote police the entire internet, take down websites containing unapproved speech. I think we got an example of what that would include. Apparently not free to conjecture, weigh evidence about power in the world and agendas behind that power. So those are being curtailed. Down here we get to the globalists are scared of the world banding together and rising up against them, hence all this new internet censorship. I remember 5, maybe even 4 years ago when the algorithms were so open. I guess they call it the Wild West, and it was great to do research. And it's not quite the same anymore. And the police state that started to come in the post 9/11 world is just closing in on us. More internet censorship, looking pretty heavy over there in Europe. Okay, I do have a final story for you today. It's a warning, if you haven't heard this one. On October 4th or possibly October 11th, you might want to take precautions. And this has to do with the 5G.
On October 4th
possible
at 2:22 p.m. Eastern Time, the emergency broadcast system will be activated across the entire United States under the leadership of FEMA, disguised as a test. However, this test will be used to send a specific high-frequency signal through devices like smartphones, radios, and TVs with the intention of activating graphene oxide and other nanoparticles that have been inserted into billions of human beings around the world through the obvious mediums. Everyone will be affected regardless of your status. The plan is to also do this in Israel at the same exact time. There are certain organizations that are doing their best to stop this in both Israel and the United States. Hopefully, they will be able to stop this. And stopping this in Israel looks promising, but stopping this in the United States is still up in the air. This will also include Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and Alaska. If the October 4th date does not occur for any reason, the backup plan will be to do it on October 11th at the same time. In the case that this is not able to be stopped, I ask you all to shut off your phones.
So that kind of wraps up today's news from around the world between financial crisis, food crisis, mass corruption. It probably is important to just be vigilant on that day, on the 4th at 2:22 Eastern Time. Take 2 hours. And if you can, it wouldn't hurt to maybe be away from your devices. So that's a bit of uncensored news from around the world. This has been Dr. Deep State, and hope everybody is doing well. And I will catch you on the other side.